Hello everyone and welcome to the virtual drive. Today we discuss whether you need to upgrade to an EOS R6, whether it's worth the money or not. The Canon EOS R6 provides 8 stops of image stabilization. For those of you who argue that my lenses have image stabilization capability, those are no match to the IBIS of the Canon EOS R6 and R5. Generally, the image stabilization in the lens that you have is limited to a few axes, whereas the Canon EOS R6, the IBIS in the camera, has 5 different axes of image stabilization. So when you're using a Canon EOS R6, the DigicX processor controls both the image stabilization function of your lens as well as the IBIS. They both work together in harmony and give you state-of-the-art image stabilization. This simply does not happen when you have only an image stabilization lens. Also, Canon has put a twist in this feature. If you're not having an RF lens, then they're not going to all work together in unison. The image stabilization of the lens is going to provide you a little bit of stabilization, and the DigicX processor will take advantage of the IBIS and provide minor corrections to image stabilization. But the system does not work the same way as when you use RF lenses. So which means if you are to take full potential of the IBIS in the EOS R6 or R5, then you will have to buy RF lenses, which is again going to put a hole in your pocket. So how does the EOS R, RP and the Canon 60 Mark II stand up against the EOS R6 in terms of image stabilization? All these have the capability of stabilizing through their lenses. But when it comes to a competition to IBIS, all these old generation cameras have electronic image stabilization instead of IBIS in them. Also with IBIS, you will be having a 10% crop factor when you're doing movies. So what's the bottom line in terms of IBIS? If you're someone who is going to buy this camera just because of IBIS, I want you to keep in mind the extra money that you need to share to buy RF lenses, because only then will the camera be taking full advantage of the image stabilization. I'm not suggesting that without RF lenses the image stabilization is going to be really bad. I'm just saying that it won't be as better as when you use the RF lens. The next fight the EOS R6 puts is with its amazing video capabilities. The EOS R6 provides 4K videos which are oversampled from 5.1K, and hence videos recorded will be a joy to watch. Well, the fact that separates the EOS R6 from the R, RP or the 60 Mark II is that with the EOS R6, the crop factor is just 1.07, whereas the EOS R had a 1.7x crop factor and the Canon 60 Mark II didn't have a 4K to it. The EOS R6 also has the capability to do 120 FPS, and hence you're going to enjoy those butter smooth slow motion videos. That's again an advantage of the EOS R6. Memory storage shouldn't be a problem because you get access to 2 memory cards, whereas the other models have only 1 memory card. So storage shouldn't be a problem, and you also have a backup memory card, so that shouldn't be an issue. Canon has also added zebra patterns to your video files, which means before recording you can have a look at the display in your LCD, and then you can get an idea of about the overexposed regions of the highlights and you can correct them. So these zebra patterns will be very useful if you do a lot of video activities in really blown out areas directly under the sun or bright areas. Another feature which bloggers would enjoy is the time-lapse feature. Canon has added a software feature by which you can do time lapses real easily. It does all the calculations, how much time you need to do the time lapse to get a certain length of video and how many pictures should be taken. Everything is done automatically, so it's a hassle-free experience. So the bottom line is that when it comes to video capabilities, the Canon EOS R6 cannot be matched by either of its predecessors, like the EOS R, RP or the Canon 60 Mark II. The next major improvement that Canon has brought in the sector is the autofocus 2. With the EOS R6, you can do 20 FPS in electronic shutter mode with AF or AE tracking and 12 FPS in mechanical shutters. With the predecessors like the EOS R, it was just 8 FPS, and the Canon EOS 60 Mark II just had 6.5 FPS, and those were without tracking or focus tracking. Finally, Canon has brought 1053 focus points for the sensor, which means you can touch anywhere around the LCD and you're going to get more focus points and crisp focusing occurs each time. It makes use of the whole sensor for the focus points, which is now a real advantage. The focus points are now scattered 100% over the sensor, which means getting those crisp focus points is really easy. The older models like the EOS R and the 60 Mark II just had 143 and 43 focus points respectively, which is way too low when compared to the EOS R6. This feature really helps you to uniquely pinpoint focus to one particular spot rather than the camera focusing at will in a particular region. If you're worried about using flash to focus on a very low lit region, then Canon has a solution there as well. You also get a special 1-point autofocus without flash for low lit areas so that you can do that focusing without having to put a flash and expose yourself. Now Canon provides 3 autofocus modes: ahead priority, animal priority, and no priority mode. And now you have specific modes catered to each person's needs. For example, animal bloggers can choose the animal focus priority, and eye focus is available now for head priority. So that is again a good software improvement in the focusing department by Canon. Focus technology is surely an advantage, but if you're not someone who is into high-speed photography or you shoot animals all the time, if you're not doing either of those, then you can have second thoughts about purchasing or upgrading to the EOS R6, as they might not be beneficial to you if you have mastered the focusing department all by yourself. But definitely the dual pixel CMOS AF2 will provide you a hassle-free focusing experience when compared to its predecessors. Before I suggest whether to upgrade to the EOS R6 or not, let me share with you a few more advantages in terms of specifications that the EOS R6 offers. The Canon EOS R is 30.2 megapixel and the 60 Mark II is 26, whereas the EOS R6 is just 20 megapixels. But then, due to its lower pixel, it is able to take advantage of this and give you a maximum ISO of 102400. And it can be expanded up to 204800, which is cool. All the predecessors had a maximum expandable of just 102400. Now the Canon EOS R6 comes with the latest processor, which is the Digic X. The predecessors had Digic 8 and Digic 7. They have their own advantages in terms of speed, quality, and image processing. So how do we conclude whether you buy, upgrade, or you don't buy? If you're someone who has decided to buy a new camera and then you don't worry about the price that the EOS R6 is at, then this is definitely a wonderful choice because it gives all the features that's worth the money that the EOS R cannot give. Because now it makes the EOS R feel way costlier and not worth for the money. So EOS R6 will be definitely a better choice if you're decided to buy a new camera. But if you're someone who already has a EOS R or a 60 Mark II, then it totally depends upon your needs whether to upgrade or not. For example, if you definitely need IBIS and if you're ready to shed that extra money for the RF lenses, then you can definitely go for the EOS R6. But then if you are satisfied with the image stabilization in your own Canon lenses, then the IBIS is not going to be a big deal for you. If you're someone who needs to go to the next level in video recording, then the EOS R6 is again a good choice. But then if you're satisfied with the 1080p that the 60 Mark II offers, or with the cropped 4K that the EOS R offers, then there is no need to go for an upgrade. And then you have the focusing methods, the CMOS AF2. If you're into animal photography, and if you definitely need the 20 FPS shots, some lightning fast photography that you do, if you do not want to miss the moment, if you're into sports photography, then the AF2 is going to be a real advantage to you. I hope this video helped you clear off a little bit of confusions about whether to upgrade, buy, or just hold on to your own camera. If you found this useful, hit the like button and let me know in the comments below if you're going to upgrade or buy a new EOS R6. I would also love if you would encourage me by subscribing to my channel. Thank you very much. Have a safe and good day.